Welcome to Raging Recaps. Sit back, relax, grab a drink as we tell you some of our stories.
Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's Raging Recap. I'm Daniel and tonight I'm joined by Jeremy. We'll be talking about our current campaigns and things coming up. But before we jump into the episode, we have a few announcements. Jez, you want to just talk a little bit about Beyond Blue?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to throw a special shout out to Beyond Blue, a charity in Australia we really want to back. Beyond Blue do a lot of work with people who suffer from anxiety and depression and suicide, people who are contemplating that. So if you're suffering into these things, as can be the case in this unprecedented times of COVID, look them up, beyondblue.org.au. Any support you can spare, I'm sure they would well appreciate it.
That's right, yes, they're a fantastic charity doing fantastic work. Thank you, Jez. On with the rest of the announcements. Coming up this Thursday at 8 p.m, we'll be playing part 2 of Death House with returning special guest Izzy, the DM from the Nat 30s D&D stream. Be sure to join us for that. And starting soon, our Learning D&D sessions hosted by the creator of our Battle Arena games, Rod. Head on over to our Facebook page for more details. And whilst you're on our Facebook page, check out the details for our first ever giveaway. But with that being said, let's jump into our recaps, starting with last week's crazy and hectic Battle Arena. As always, viewers, if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to message us in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer. So, for our Battle Arena, Jez, why don't you run us through your character?
Oh my god, who was my character again? He was a barbarian, that's for sure. Jeez, what race was he? You got me thinking. I wanted to go with a barbarian for two reasons. One, I'd never played one before. That's right, he was a half-orc barbarian, I think.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get a feel for someone who just swings an axe, basically. And half-orc had a few different characteristics. I think second, like an extra attack. And yeah, I've had spent some time playing a spellcaster. I've played a distance, like a ranged attack character. I wanted to get amongst it and have a swing. Lo and behold, didn't really work out as I expected, as I was hoping. When you're fighting Count Gusula.
Yes. Yeah. And I did notice that your character seemed to have a same habit of wanting to steal other people or liberate other people's belongings from them. Seems to be, as was discussed, a bit of a running theme with your characters.
Yeah. It was like I generated a completely random character for this using, I can't remember what it was, I can find the link and give it a plug. But I couldn't believe it when the traits that came out for it were just, this guy likes to steal stuff and doesn't trust anyone. Like, I can get behind that kind of character, that's for sure. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. First time tackling the Battle Arena myself as the DM. Luckily, I was very much so inspired by Mark for the idea. He gave me the idea for Count Gusula, and then it just snowballed from there.
Count Gusula, what a spanner that was. To get back a little bit first, though, DM just tell us about these hands that came out at the start. Where'd that come from?
Oh, yes, so that's actually a monster in the monster manual. They're known as crawling claws. It's literally just the severed hand of a criminal that was brought back through necromancy. They're very fun. Also, a very interesting thing about them is they are immune to turn undead features.
Okay.
So, as a cleric, you would first in the undead, you would turn undead, but they're immune to that. So I was like, the plan was, oh well, I know that we've got a couple of clerics, so it'd be fun for me as a DM to see if I can get the burn through those before, yeah.
Before even the real undead came out, because he was easy to beat.
Because I originally expected, I was originally going to have a whole bunch of like zombie creatures and stuff, like the zombie beholder. I already had that ready to go, but like a bunch of undead things. But I was like, and then I got the idea for Count Gusula, and I'm like, that could be it's either going to be a very lengthy combat session or it's going to be very short. We ended up having a very lengthy combat
Oh
session.
yeah.
I think that's probably our longest stream so far.
Yeah, that was epic. We went for like over 4.5 hours or something. In fact, I've got it written down here because why not?
Yeah, like
It was huge. I thought the hands were an interesting touch though. Just these things popping out, trying to chase things
Yeah.
down and club them. I haven't written it down actually. My bad.
yeah, no, that will like I hadn't thought about using them before, and I was just thinking like with Death House and stuff, and then I run Curse of Strahd like with mates and stuff. Like I got the that undead creatures. Like what would be fun and interesting? What haven't we gone up against before? And I'm like, Calling Claw is a fun little thing to start things off,
Yeah.
and then I was like, what else would be fun? I'm like, inanimate objects, because that was
Yeah.
so fun. That was so fun in Death House.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. That rug, I was.
Oh yeah,
That
I
was
forgot about
great.
the rug.
Yeah. No, it just sucked that didn't actually get to smother anyone before it was destroyed by the party.
What else was it? He had a sword in there as well, didn't you? Like a animated
Yeah,
sword.
flying sword. Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a whole like in the Monster Man was a whole bunch of different like constructs and stuff. So you got like your animated armor, flying sword, rug of smothering, and then you've got your like more animal or monstrosity type things like mimics and stuff like that. There's just something threatening about inanimate objects like actually trying to kill you.
Yes. Well, when you place into a battle arena and there's nothing but a rug and a bunch of severed hands, you know something's going to come and get you. You wouldn't
Yeah,
expect
yeah.
a rug though.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
no, that's,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was, I was kind of inspired because of how well the animated broom did, in Death House. Like,
Yeah.
it almost took out the fighter, the half-orc fighter. That was, yeah. You have a soft spot for like the weirder creatures and stuff. Like, yeah, you can fight a dragon and stuff, cool. But like little interesting, creepy things are also really fun.
I can just picture all these built characters running around trying to beat up a broom or chase like I just pictured a thing from Adam's Family running around.
Yeah, the thing, yeah, pretty much, yeah, just like an undead, rotting version of that running around, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was very fun. I was like, and I was like trying to figure out like a different way to do the announcement thing for Battle Arena, because like we've done it like Rod has like his omnipresent being that comes down and talks to the party, talks to the group of adventurers in the office and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's really cool, but I want to do it a different way. Whereas you get out with your life. That's what you get. Because if it's an omnipresent being that can like lift people out of wherever they are and put them into an arena thing, it doesn't really care about rewarding you with stuff. It just wants you to fight for entertainment purposes.
I did like that spin on it, just like you hear the crowd roar in the background.
Yeah,
Where are these weird beings? It actually reminded me a little bit of the Puzzle Master that we did in Acquisitions Inc. That was
that
infuriating.
puzzle master. Yeah. That's why I had a lot of fun when I came in for that second part of that session for the Puzzle Master thing, where it was just like the first little puzzle was like, okay, get the keys in the fire, cool. And then the second bit was like, oh, it's all trapped and stuff. And I'm like, my character's not very smart. He's just gonna run across the room.
You gotta play the character. Let the chips fall where they may.
Exactly. Like, it was, yeah. I didn't want to go too. Like, I don't mind puzzles in D&D, but I'm not very good at like coming up with clever, awesome puzzles. I rely on Wizards of the Coast to do that in the source books, that I can just run them. So, yeah, I prefer more a bit combat orientated encounters and stuff, because they in themselves can be a bit more of a puzzle, because you're given, well, traditionally not so much in Battle Arena, but you're given an enemy. You don't know if you can negotiate with it. You don't know if you can kill it. And you don't know if you should just run away from the encounter. But that's the fun thing, to see how people react to that sort of thing.
Yeah, right. Tell us about how you came up with, I know it's a bit of collaborative effort, how we got to Count Gusula.
Count
The mad
Gushula
duck.
is
Who's not a
the
duck?
mad goose. Yes, that came about. I've been playing the Untitled Goose game, and
Ah,
I
right.
put something up on Facebook about playing it. And I think I was like trying to come up with a cool name, and I came up with Count Gushula. And then Mark commented, "Is like, oh, is this the next big bad evil guy we fight?" And I'm like, "Thank you for the idea." And then I was like, "How is this going to work?" Like, well, Count, that sounds like a bit more of a vampire type thing. Okay, well, how would that work in the realm of the races that are available in D&D? So I went, well, Aarakocra, the bird people. And I'm like, well, there's nothing in the rules that say that they all look like eagles. You could have like a parrot Aarakocra or like a seagull or something like that. So I'm like, well, that would make sense. And I could have a goose Aarakocra. And then I was like, and then make just all I really had to do was just add in that they had a flying speed and then make them undead. And then the rest is all pretty much the vampire stat block that's in the monster manual.
I didn't even think about that actually. I obviously got
Yeah,
the vampire stat block out of the monster manual in that relation. I didn't even think about what race are they. I just thought
yeah,
they are race monster, but no, they're
yeah.
proper race.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't start as vampires. They have a history before they became vampires.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. Like just to think about the different ways you can like rejigger some of the things within change the preconceptions of the way you can run your monsters and stuff.
How?
Like yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was watching a thing today, and someone was talking about they created, it was a skeleton. It was a skeleton, but it was a goblin skeleton, and it had some sentience, sort of thing, and it was like talking to the party, with talking riddles and stuff, and I was like, that's really interesting and clever, like something a little bit different than your standard. There's a skeleton, it has a sword and a shield, and it's trying to kill you.
Yeah. So tell me, you said everything's got a history before they became a vampire. Did you have a
Yes.
chance to think about Count Gusula's history?
Yes, he grew up in a small town. He had a habit of collecting bells. They had like a miniature version of the town within the town, and they had like a bell tower, and it was a golden bell, and he just wanted to get that. And also, he just liked to be a bit mischievous, steal things from
Mm.
people, or like just like pretty much just ruin people's days because it was a goose and had nothing better to do.
What a bastard. And he
Yeah.
really did ruin our day.
That yes, he did. That was. I loved how as soon as he came out and like the first volley of attacks, I think it was Mark that was like, "This is going to be a short session,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it just dragged out, and I was like, "Yeah, like it was yeah," but no, that was really fun. Like, and then it's interesting because like there was a lot of things like I remember from reading through the monster manual and stuff that rereading it, I'm like, I'd totally forgotten that this creature could do this thing. So like the regeneration of vampires, I
Oh,
totally completely forgot that.
what a nightmare that was. That causes no end of heartache. No amount of hacking and slashing would do anything to this guy.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That was like wasn't like considering that a vampire is actually one of like the more deadlier creatures in D&D. Like you guys did pretty well to be able to eventually take it down. You did have some assistance from
Hmm.
uh, a sun god,
Apollo.
Apollo. But yes, no, that was but no, like, that was yeah. Oh, that was a lot of fun. I was really happy to be able to DM that and be able to like keep you guys engaged as we were playing for like 5 hours.
Oh yeah,
So,
that was hectic. When you came up, you decided to go with the vampire and everything, you said this could go one of two ways, either really short or really long.
yeah.
What was like how? Obviously, we ended up
Oh,
with a long one. We know how that
just
happened. How would it
yeah,
have
yeah.
possibly have gone short?
Well, like just like the things that a vampire can do, like the amount of damage that it was doing to you guys in a single turn. That was like, okay, well, if he could just clobber everyone and bring them all down. And then the other thing that I kept doing to everyone was charming them.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so I was like, because he charmed a couple of you and then bit you, and then you guys saved on your wisdom saving throws, and so you ended up being like back to normal. So I was like, okay, well, he's not an idiot. He's not a stupid goose. He's a smart goose. So he's going to instead see how he goes about just charming the entire party. Because once you're all charmed, you're going to stop fighting him, and then it's going to end it because you're all under his thrall. So there was that, or yeah, as I said, just pure damage dealing. Because it took you guys quite a long time to realize. Yeah, and
Yes.
yeah, like the legendary actions and stuff, being able to do something in the middle of someone else's turn or the end of someone else's turn is like super OP, and that's 3 of those, and he gets those every single round. It's like
I'm calling
it's
it. That was just
yeah.
a dick move on the goose's part.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think I may have forgot to use them as much as I should have.
Oh, good.
But yeah, no, that was yeah, and then you've got these other like a lot of the more mythical creatures in D&D. They also have legendary resistances, so most of them have 3 of those, and they can pretty much just decide if they fail a saving throw, they can go, no, I'm not going to fail that. I'm going to save instead. Yeah, it's like a big fuck you to the players.
Dude, these legendary actions, because obviously I've only been in this D&D space for 8 months.
Yeah.
This is just in the middle of someone else's turn. You can go, you know what? I'm having another go right now, and just do whatever you want.
Yep. Pretty much. Oh, not whatever you want. You have like a set list of things that you can do. So like you can some things like you can hit someone, you can move your speed without provoking opportunity attacks, or you can spend more actions to like do something like say bite someone sort of thing. But the thing with the vampires though is they can't bite someone unless they're grappling or they're charmed.
Speaking of grappling, and playing the character.
Yeah.
Once I kind of realized that trying to hit this goose just with a massive axe was just going to make him laugh and give him a tickle.
Yeah.
My plan was to try and rope him up and, stick him in a fire or pin him down and ram a stake through his little tiny heart.
Yeah.
How did you find that scenario to try and DM? Because I did try and rope him a few times. I got him once.
Yeah. No, that was really interesting. Like I was trying because I had to like on the fly make up the check in my head that you needed to do to be able to try and lasso him. That was. It's one of those things where when you DM, it just like plays you improv as you go, but like running checks and stuff like that, and knowing what relates to what. So like lassoing would be, dexterity because you're throwing it, whereas like smacking someone with a rope is a strength-based thing, sort of thing. So it's just like it helps to read the Dungeon Master's Guide and stuff like that if you're gonna DM, but it's not a necessity because there's so much stuff, videos and everything out there on the interwebs that you don't necessarily need to read everything. You can also watch stuff and you'll be able to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I thought when I was trying to say I want to do this, I want to try and throw a rope at him and smash him on the ground, I didn't know what do I roll? So I was like, DM, what do I do? So it's great that you're there to say, you know what? Yeah, you've got to do this and then this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's the thing though, because it's D&D. It's you're telling hopefully a fun story with friends, and there are rules, but the rules are there more as a guideline. You don't have to adhere to all the rules unless like someone's doing something that's super broken, and you're like, hang on a second, can you actually do that sort of thing? And it works both ways for players and DMs. So like if the DM's doing something that is like, well, no, that's broken as shit. Like it's always good for the players, but hey, can you actually do that? Because then, you don't want to, because it's not exactly supposed to be the DM is like God and the players are all there and I'm your enemy sort of thing. It's all a collaborative storytelling experience. And as I said, rules are the guidelines to follow within the realm of what you're playing.
Yeah, for sure. In the whole DMing space and even role playing for players, how would you picture us as players role playing in the battle arena? You've been in it both as a player and now as a DM. It's a weird space, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit harder in the battle arena to do as much role playing, simply for the fact that we're literally like in Rod's ones and stuff. We do get that short rest or the long rest where you can kind of have a little bit of downtime, but then the action is going to start back up again at any moment. So you got to try and like the way I work it is okay. I will go how my character would go, like make the same types of decisions that he would make in an actual game, sort of thing. So like you've got your ideals, personality traits, bonds and flaws and stuff, and you want to like play into those a little bit. So whether that be my character wants to touch a shiny gem, sort of thing, and immediately summon a creature stronger than it was before after you'd already killed it, and it just whomps on him. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really hard. I mean, like you said, it is a bit easier, you've got more flexibility if you're using a character that you've already been playing before, because you kind of know who they are and what they're going to do.
Yeah.
As fun as it is to roll random characters and just give it a go to see how they operate, which is beneficial to learn, like, if you use them later. It does take a bit of, extra effort to try and RP what would they do in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's especially because, like, the parties that I've seen play and that I've played in and I've DM'd and stuff, not everyone trusts each other straight away, because that gets, unless everyone knows each other previously, like in game, the characters know each other, like previously. It's hard to get the party cohesion to be there straight away. Like they can be there kind of, but that's more because they're incentivized through money or something like that. Not so much the fact that they're the heroes of the land, sort of thing. Like what's been happening in our Waterdeep campaign.
Yeah, starting to come together quite nicely.
Yeah, like once you take that moment to sit together as a party as your characters and just talk through everything, sort of thing, it forms that little bit more trust within the party. Because hey, I might not risk my life for someone I've known for a couple of weeks, and we have a place together, but I don't really know if I can trust them. Whereas if I'm sitting there, if we know each other quite a bit, and you go from that being friends to like being closer friends, sort of thing, you're more than likely going to, do more to help them than say, oh well, you're fucked, see ya, and continue on.
Yeah. I found that one of the opportunities we had in the last battle arena to do that kind of thing, to get in the character's head and figure out what they do, is when we were charmed. And Mark had a lot of opportunity with this because he was charmed for like 90% of the game.
Yeah, yes he was, yes.
But it's that moment when, I remember I got charmed once, and now the goose was my best friend, and we went way back. But so were the rest of the party. So there's that conflict inside. Well, do I go and beat up the rest of my party because they beat up my friend, or do I just run away from the situation or try and break them up? So there's all that different decisions which come into play. Ooh.
Yeah. So that's what I was during the session. That's what I said with the charm effect. You're not necessarily going to go and attack the other party members. You're going to want to try and like protect Count Gusula rather than attack the entire party. You'll defend him, sort of thing, and you might whack them just to be like, hey, freaking knock it off. But yeah, that's pretty much like the way. Yeah.
I think you absolutely had to call it out to us, because I know when the first person got charmed, they were just like, okay, turn around, I'm going to beat on the party now. I think only because a couple of battle arenas we've had, that's been the setup to just turn on your best friend.
Yeah.
But then when you're saying, no, you're not necessarily enemies, you're just trying to get along with everyone, it's like, okay, what do we do now? Which was, is that kind of setup which had me use for the first time a reaction. Like not a reaction, a hold action. I was like, I'm going to, only if someone hits the goose will I attack them.
Yeah, exactly.
Turned out being a burn of a move. Didn't use it at all, but it made sense at the time.
Exactly, and that's like the whole thing. Like you don't know what's going to happen in the next like move, sort of the next round of combat. And like I do find that there are more things that you can do during combat than just whack. Like you can help people, or for the help action, for instance, you can go onto the other side of an enemy sort of thing, or like near an enemy, and I'm going to use the help action and distract this guy so that when my friend comes up, they can just clobber the absolute ever-loving shit out of them with advantage sort of thing. So, yeah, that's what I like about the Dungeon Master screen. It's got all the different things you can do in combat, and even in the player's handbook, it got at the back of it like all the different things you can do during combat that aren't just attacking.
It's so true. And just thinking about how my style at the moment, it's like I've got to attack and I've got to move. But there's so many more options you have that can change the shape of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Like just even like doing a simple thing like on your turn, it's like, okay, well I know I'm in this room, but is there anything that I've missed in this room with my passive perception? Because there could be something that can help you or hinder you in the fight, sort of thing. So like there might be, you roll a perception check. Oh, you do notice that there's a out of place book on a shelf. Its spine is much cleaner, sort of thing, than all the other books. And then you can pull on that, and then something might happen, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
As was demonstrated with Death House in our last session of Death House, when Izzy's character, when you guys were in the library, and then she was having a look around and was like, oh yeah, and then I rolled a perception check and then she noticed the strange book, so she pulled it off the shelf and the door opened. So yeah,
there's a lot more to it. Now, question for you.
Yes.
When you first set up this encounter, you got the hands,
yep,
the rug, the sword, obviously the goose, and a zombie beholder.
Yes.
Were you expecting us to try and get through all of that stuff?
Well, no. The zombie beholder, like I had ready, prepared to go, in case. Because that was originally going to be the big thing that you guys fought at the end, until I got the idea for Count Gusula.
Ah, right.
Because as you saw when Mark's character got hit by the disintegration ray, like 49 points of damage in like with just one thing. It's like, yeah, that would probably kill most characters, but because he's barbarian, yeah. Zombie beholders. Like just beholders also, it's a little special spot in my DM heart because they're just so cool because the eye stalks all do different things, and then you've got an undead version of that is also still pretty fucking deadly.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see. We're struggling against all odds to try and take down this goose, and then out pops the zombie beholder.
Yeah.
How did you take to trying to move, like to progress the events? So I know we were hitting and missing, and Mark was charmed and didn't want to hit the goose at all, didn't want to hit us. He was like, what do I do? And
it was literally, I looked down at the clock and I was like, oh, it's after 12:30. Let's see if I can miss it. Like it's getting quite late. And like, we all, unfortunately, we don't do this. We don't do raging rolls for a living yet. And the Prime original series coming soon. Like I know, people have work and stuff like that. So I was like, unless I just throw in the towel and end it, which wouldn't be as fun. Let's see if I can up the stakes a little bit and see if you guys can either overcome or get a total TPK.
We were pretty close. We were very close to a TPK, I'm sure of it.
You were super close to a TPK. Like,
I was on death saves.
Yep.
Who else was on death saves?
Dave went into death saves, but then he was stabilized briefly. Urak ended up on death saves. And then was brought back. So it was like a little bit, everyone kept brought back and then back down and then up and down. But yeah, and then Dave in his unconscious but stable form calling out to his god, and I was like, something cool that a god would do, and I was like, if he rolls a 19 or a nat 20, I'm gonna let something happen, and then he rolled a 19, and I'm like, god damn it.
If that didn't happen, what would you do? Just continue playing as it was?
I would have continued playing. He would have been out pretty much for the rest of the session. Yeah. But then I had to like come up on the fly with an awesome, cool thing that a god would bestow to a party member, not as significant as something like Channel Divinity, but something just to get them out of like a little bit of a scrap for the moment.
And what was it again? Remind us.
That was that 20-foot. Like he was like shedding light for 60 feet, and then he had pretty much a sphere almost around him, a radiant sphere around him, and anything undead that started its turn or that the start of his turn took 20 radiant damage.
Right.
Yeah.
And was that? I can't remember. Was that enough to take out the? It wasn't.
Yeah.
enough to
No.
take out the
Because it ended up being on his turn. Because he was brought back to life, brought back up, and then ended his turn. And then when he got back to the start of his turn, both the Beholder Zombie and Count Gushala were at 18 hit points.
Oh.
So they went boom, gone. Because zombies and vampires, if they're destroyed by radiant damage, they can't come. They don't come back. Like
I didn't quite catch that, man. I didn't catch it during the game
Yeah.
because something was going with the stream, so I was trying to deal with that. And then I heard you say, and the goose and the zombie and the beholder are dead. And I'm like, what? What did I miss?
Yeah. No, it was like, because I didn't realize, like, I made it a little bit too powerful, but I'm like, well, I've said it, I can't recant it. That's a dick DM move, but it worked out really well within the story itself.
Yeah. And so when you brought the zombie beholder in, was the objective with that just to try and kill us all?
Part of that, yes, but also I really wanted to use a zombie beholder because, like, I've used it's like I got a beholder mini, and the whole reason I got the beholder mini was because I wanted a zombie beholder, and then WizKids came out with an actual zombie beholder mini, so now I have to go spend money on that as well.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. It was like, oh god, this guy's coming out of nowhere. What the hell do we do?
Yeah.
It played out.
Yeah. No, it was really fun. It was, yeah. So, moving on a little bit. Upcoming stream this coming Thursday.
Yeah.
We got Death House Part 2. What are you? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts and your characters' thoughts so far regarding the Death House?
To be honest, I'm terrified. Like,
Yeah.
bringing 2 fighters. Do we have any clerics with us?
Nope.
Nope. We've got a sorcerer, I think.
Yep, no healers. Yeah, I think Izzy's playing a sorcerer.
And what else have we got? There's one other character. One other person.
We have Barbarian. We've got Mark's Barbarian.
So we've got all heavy hitters and damage dealers.
Yep.
In a death house, which we now know is full of undead and vampires, which just bashing probably going to do not a lot of damage.
No vampires yet. You guys have encountered that spectral woman and a broom.
And a broom.
And the most
yeah.
disturbing thing so far has been the smell from the rotted tiger skin rug that Mark's character threw into the fireplace.
Yeah. That was madness.
That was fantastic.
But apparently, death in the death house is a good thing.
Is it?
Well, not death, but I got to 0 hit points, and came back with like 3 times as many.
Yep.
Which was brilliant.
Yes, and you're also covered in thick, oily black hair.
What? I didn't catch that bit of the memo.
Yeah, you should. You definitely do, because that's definitely a thing that happened. Yeah, you got that, and you don't like. It could like this. There could be a detrimental thing to having the 30 extra hit points.
Write that down.
Yeah. Very important note to all you players out there. Very, very important to take notes, especially when something like that happens. When you're brought back to life by a mysterious entity, write down everything.
I have notes. They're just like little pictures and stuff. But
I think I have a couple of players in my home game that do that as well.
It just helps me get the visual. So my notes, let me just recap my notes. I've written down that Rod was a Kobold KO. That ended pretty quickly.
Yep.
There's Rose and there's Thorn. Nice names, Rose and Thorn. Baby on the third floor, monster in the basement. Windmills, family has 3 kids. Gustav and Liz Durst.
Yep.
And there's a will that will leave the house to the kids.
Yes.
I've written down, I don't know why, I've written down Hidden Step. Some of a Hidden Step? And now, covered in thick oily hair. Great.
Yeah, you're brought back with 30 hit points, and thick, oily black hair on your face and arms everywhere, pretty much.
Oh my face!
No secret steps, but there is the... Oh no, yes, secret steps, yes, going up into the attic where we ended the session.
That's right, behind the mirror that the sorcerer smashed.
Yes, which hoping to get rid of the spectral woman. Didn't succeed though, unfortunately. Ended up being brought down by the party, thankfully.
Yeah, the Death House thing, I think, is that we're gonna get slaughtered. We're level 1 characters, so we're all squishy. All we've got is basically fingernails and a couple of swords.
Yep.
Soldiers, a barbarian, and a sorcerer. The sorcerer wants to be anywhere but there.
Yes.
No,
I don't blame her.
The barbarian, is he now a a gnome barbarian? Is that right?
No. The gnome is a tabaxi. The gnome is currently KO's new form, minus his teeth.
Yes. He was a tabaxi barbarian. Now he's a gnome barbarian, more or less.
Yeah. No, he's a fighter, isn't he? No, he's a rogue, sorry. He's a rogue.
He's a rogue. What? Okay, rogue.
We probably forgot because, we don't really have rogues in our campaigns.
No, we don't. And we should.
No, we don't check the traps.
And this is true. We actually can never have a rogue in our campaigns because we just go against the mantra.
Yeah, that's why I multi-class snack into a ranger rogue, because that's allowed. It's seems kind of legal, but not fully illegal yet.
I feel like having someone who can check for traps in Death House might be a really helpful thing.
Probably. You guys might survive a little bit longer.
We've got to give him some warning. He's like, you know what, everyone? This is the House of Death. It's in the title. The hint's in the name. Why don't we have?
Yeah. I did. In our group chat, I was like, guys, is anyone going to be a healer? And you guys are like, nah. And I was like, okay, it's not my fault. What happens?
My reasoning for that was that I play a cleric in Aki resistance, so I was just trying to mix it up. I didn't know we were all going to end up like that, so my thinking was someone else will do it.
Yeah.
And apparently that's how everyone else thought as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I ended up going cleric for Waterdeep, was because I was like, well, no one's going to go cleric. I was reading through the cleric stuff, and I was like, actually, war cleric sounds pretty fun. And then then the ideas people from there, I was like, okay, well, I'll go cleric. And, I got to kill a gelatinous cube. I killed a couple of things as a cleric, which you don't expect.
No, this was a lesson I've learned as in playing a cleric.
Yeah.
I was reading through his things like, oh, he's getting, do a bit of damage. Guiding bolt looks good. Spiritual weapon, excellent. Bit of a damage dealer. Nope. I've got to change this guy's spells when I can, because the more I'm into it, the more I'm just learning that clerics are there to do good and help people, not knock the living shit out of people.
Exactly. Well, it depends on the cleric. You got a war domain cleric. They're more than likely going to be more smash first, ask questions later, sort of thing.
What else with Death House though? What have we got in store for us? What can you tell us?
Well, we'll have to tune in on Thursday night at 8 p.m. right here on our Twitch channel to find out what happens next. What are you hoping for?
a healthy, quick escape. No, look. Now that I'm aware that I'm covered in thick, oily hair, I might go back into that bathroom where the broom was and find a pair of clippers so I can at least cut the eyebrows.
Yep, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Yes.
Have a shower in there, maybe. Get cleaned up a little bit. See if I'm still the same old furball.
Yeah, even furrier furbolg. Also, I do not believe furbolgs have dark vision.
No, they do not.
No, I remember when I was like, "Is everyone got dark vision?" Everyone's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Cool." And then during the week, I was like, "Hang on a minute," because I was watching Critical Role, and because Caduceus is a furbolg, and he's like, "I don't have dark vision," like in one of the scenes, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I went in the book, and I'm like, "Oh, they don't."
Yeah, did I say I did have dark vision? I apologise.
That's
so
okay.
hard, man. So many characters to keep track of.
I know. And like most races do have dark vision.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, no. Because you guys still haven't even been to the basement yet.
No. I would think the next logical step for us in this campaign is to explore this mysterious attic upstairs.
Yep.
Or whatever is there. Because we haven't found the baby yet, right? We've just found the blanket.
No, you found it was swaddled and stuff. It looked like there was a baby in it, and you guys opened it, and all you guys know about the baby is you found that letter that alluded that the father, Daddy Durst, I can't remember his first name, Daddy Durst had an affair with the maid who gave birth to a stillborn child.
Yes. His name is Gustav. See, that's in my notes.
Yes, excellent. That's why I rely on you guys to take notes, because I sometimes forget stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So you assume there might not, like, I think one of you guys had said something about there might not be an actual baby.
Mm.
But also, you guys, Rose and Thorn, were outside, but they didn't come in. So you don't know what happened to them either.
Oh my god, the mystery. It's so hard, right? Because you're thinking these little one-shots. I don't know, in my head, I must be treating them like Battle Arena, just get in there and slay shit.
Yeah.
But you can't. You've still got to do the investigation, uncover the small story in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because like you guys pretty much, the first and second levels, you didn't really go into all the rooms. You guys went pretty much straight up to the third level. That was it.
And, if I think about if this was a video game, say, I'd be in there. Yeah. This room, what's in there? This room, what's in there?
Yeah.
Straight away. Yeah. But it's so weird. As this, you kind of got to negotiate that, so it feels like, and go where the party goes. Although, was it Bam Bam that just went straight upstairs and just basically tripped over himself and was not quite about it whatsoever?
No, he wasn't. No, Bam Bam was just like, let's go have a look at stuff. He's just like, let's get it done. Get in, get it done. This ain't going to be nothing but a thing. And he died. And came back as a gnome with no teeth.
Yes, true. Now, in a situation like this where we're all in one spot, because I'm trying to think, what do I do next in this campaign, right? We're in this one shot, two shot. And you've just told us there's more rooms to explore on the first level and so on. What if one of the two of us just say, you know what, we're going to check out other rooms, and then you've got two things to manage as a DM?
Yeah. It does help that I've run Death House before, so I know like pretty much like most of the layout and everything, and it just pretty much just means a little bit more handling of the map on like Roll20, just like bouncing between the two. But yeah, no, it's just and like just time management. Like I would like, okay, well we'll go with you guys for a bit, see what happens with you guys, and then we'll jump over to what's happening with the other side of the other half of the party, sort of thing. And just like bouncing back into the parties come back together. The downside for that, though, as a player character, is you don't know if you are going to uncover anything dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
which is where they say don't split the party.
Hmm. I'm so torn right now because I want to go and
Yeah.
explore these extra rooms, but then I'm also keen to see what happens upstairs in this secret hidden room.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you don't, your character doesn't know the stuff that they're not there for. So the party might find out something super interesting and stuff, and then your character has to be told about it later because they weren't there in the room. So it's like one of those like fear of missing out things. So
I think we'll send Bam Bam to have a look.
yeah, yeah. Well, he can't talk now, so he should be a bit quieter.
Yeah. Yes. You can't remember how to call out for help either.
Yeah, no, very disturbing call for help. I'm rich-
So you said you've run this one shot before,
Yes, I have.
and did it take one session or a couple?
It ended up taking, but well, because I'm running Curse of Strahd as my home game, so I had like an intro thing, and then they entered into the land of Barovia, which is like the setting for Curse of Strahd, and then they went straight to the Death House. So all up, I would say it was maybe 2 sessions, but we would also play for
Oh, okay.
like 6 hours, sometimes a bit longer and stuff, because you're at home and stuff. We're not playing online and streaming stuff. That's
Yeah.
why before the session I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a 1-shot. It might be a 2-shot, possibly a 3-shot.
Oh, God.
Depending how quickly you guys get through things. But I'm working on stuff on my end for Thursday session to try and make it neat and tidy, but also be challenging as well, because it's no fun if it's super easy, and it's no fun if it's super hard.
Yeah. And if we level up to level 5 in one go, then that might be helpful as well.
Yeah. Well, it could happen. It could happen.
You could?
Uh,
No,
uh,
surely not.
Yeah. Looking in the chat at the moment, and Kronos is like, also checking other rooms might mean you have to check for traps. And exactly, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. That would imply that we're smart.
Yeah, no.
That's what parts are for.
It's ironic. So ironic.
Yeah. A little bit of backstory for that comment. Before we started streaming, we were playing Waterdeep, and no one was checking for traps. And the barbarian had the great idea, because we had encountered a couple of traps, the great idea to grab the bard, because the bard was annoying him, and throw the bard down the stairs, and it activated some traps.
It was a fire genasi bard, and we couldn't see down the stairs, right? So someone chucked the bard down the stairs.
Exactly. It's a clever way to check for traps.
And we could see, and hands never check for traps. It's character building.
Character building, exactly. Brought the party closer together. Well, it made us all laugh our asses off. Even the bard was laughing, thankfully.
It was definitely a creative use of human.
Yes. Yeah. But no. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to Death House, because I'm running it a little bit different, more straightforward than I did in my home game, mostly because I had to world build a little before getting everyone into the Death House. Whereas with the party, it was pretty much you guys went to sleep and you woke up and you're in this scary, creepy place, not where you were before, and then you walk through the woods for a while, end up in a town, no one's around, and you come across the 2 creepy-looking kids.
Let's back up a little bit there, back to that very opening piece where you're at a campsite.
Yep.
I was so torn between, okay, do we do meet and greets and try and uncover what everyone's trying to do? Do we just do, everything's moved? Are we supposed to investigate the situation we're in? Or, as we were kind of navigated towards, just get moving, you'll find out what's going on as you get going.
Well, I did like Mark's attempt to investigate the trees, but he rolled so bad that he wasn't even sure there were trees.
That's right, and then I cop the flack all the time for check it, is it wood? Yeah, it's wood.
Yeah. Or it could be wood, you don't know, you're not 100% sure.
So I was check the painting. Yeah, it might be a painting, you're just not sure. Is it made of paint?
Yeah, no, that was that's why, privately messaged you guys, and I was like, just to make it for expediency's sake, you guys know of each other because you're all adventuring type people. You're all around the same area, and that's why I said in the intro that it's safer to, camp together than it is by yourselves in the wilderness.
Yeah, and then the fog came.
And then the fog came.
And the fog, did it do damage to anyone? I can't remember. It just made your hand feel tingly. Right?
Not when you guys go into the house and Izzy's character MI stuck her finger into it and it did a little bit of damage to her. But yeah.
Stuck in this house. This is madness. We're in another dimension for sure.
Yeah, got to uncover the secrets and hopefully survive the experience at his death house.
And then what at the end? Do we get items to take back to Aking?
Oh, well, no, I had to talk with our DM about that, with Robin about that. Yeah, no, that's definitely a conversation for Robin.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I do have plans, like, if everyone likes it enough, I do have plans if wanted to keep going and turn it into a Curse of Stride campaign sort of thing. That would depend on if people have enough interest in it to continue on into Curse of Stride.
That seems to be getting played a lot at the moment. I saw a poll on Facebook today. It's like, what are you playing at the moment? Like, the overwhelming majority was Homebrew, and I think number 2 was Curse of Stride. Exactly.
Yeah, Curses, because it's one of the like top favorite games of most people. Like with a play for 5th edition D&D, like Ravenloft goes back to this setting. Like Ravenloft goes back to like almost the beginning of D&D. Back almost, I think it was the 80s or late 70s or something that it was first created. Very popular, very very popular. Something about the gothic horror fantasy genre that people really like.
Yeah, right. So it's I mean, new question here, but it's definitely set. It sounds like it's set in a very different world to everything we've experienced so far.
Yes, it'd be very different to like Ak Inc. or Waterdeep. Very, very different indeed. Much darker setting, much darker in tone and themes and stuff that go on within the game itself.
You're not going to turn up and find a festival going on somewhere in the middle of the day. You're going to turn up and find, people lying in a street rotting in the rain on a cold night or something.
You don't really know. Like you could pretty much come into anything. Like one of the things that with horror and stuff, like there could be like a festival going on and stuff, but what's the festival about? Like who's hosting the festival? Why are they hosting the festival?
God.
Yeah.
So many options. Options.
Yeah, it's really fun. Like as I said, I play it with mates at home. It's a lot of fun. Like, yeah, I can't spoil anything because I don't know if anyone's watching. Any of them are watching the stream at the moment. But like the last session, like ended on a massive cliffhanger, and I'm really looking forward to where that's going to go.
What was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, just going back to the arena we just went through.
Yeah.
If you had to plan that again, what would you do differently?
Probably make you guys a bit higher level.
Okay, so going at level 5 just wasn't enough.
Well, because like the combat encounter was a little bit more difficult. It's my first time using a vampire. So inexperienced DM. We're all pretty good at the moment with everything, but we're not like top notch. We don't know absolutely everything about everything D&D related. But yeah, no, I would definitely say make you guys higher level. I probably would have chucked out the Rug of Smothering, or just add a second one just to make it fun.
So less rugs or more rugs, either way.
Yeah. It's just pretty much. Yeah, but I'm looking. Because I like Count Gushua. He's very fun. He's a very, very fun, silly character. And the brutality, because Ahimsa had to leave the session after when we came back from our break, and he just reached out and snapped her neck because she said, just like work out how my character can leave, or you can control my character. Which, as a DM, I don't like controlling other people's characters because I've done it once before, and that character died, and I was like, I felt really bad about that, so I was like, I don't like doing it.
Yeah, fair
And,
enough.
yeah, but yeah, no, it would be yeah. I don't know if I ever do it again. I'll just do Mecha Count Gushula.
Speaking of Hinza having to bail out, how much of an impact do you think that had on the whole situation?
Oh, that was a massive impact because she was a cleric as well. So
Mm.
two clerics going against a vampire, as well as like two barbarians and a druid. Like you guys probably would have been okay
Right.
against it. You guys probably would have beaten that much faster. Because as Dave was saying, he built because it was going to be two clerics. He's like, well, he let Ahimsa take all like the damage dealing stuff, and so he took all healing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's why it's like always good to have a mix of both healing and damage dealing stuff because you never know what you're gonna encounter in battle arena or just any session.
We were talking about this last week about character creation. I want to get your thoughts on it. So, there's part of me that thinks character creation is a fairly personal thing, comes from the story you tell yourself about the character you want to create, but then it's like you're talking about very collaborative as well to
Yeah.
form a cohesive party. Where do you see that playing best? How do you see that all working, like the solo character creation piece versus collaborative?
Yeah. Yeah, you can do like it helps like so if none of the player characters really know each other until like the first session, it's fine. People can do it separately with like input from the GM and stuff, and like you kind of like work out what everyone wants to play, sort of thing. So there's not too much overlap because you don't want to have a massive party of bards like a Barty or something like that, because that would just be fucking chaos. But yeah, but if you're, I highly recommend if people like yourself as a soldier, and then Dave's character as a soldier as well. And it's like, well, if you guys worked together in the past, do you guys already know each other? Why don't you guys have a chat about a mutual possible backstory that you share, sort of thing? Or if you're a higher level and stuff, like if you're in a higher level setting, sort of thing. So like, say you start at level 3 instead of level 1. How did you get to level 3? You're more than likely going to, because if you're all from the same region, if you're all from the same region, you more than likely would have bumped into each other a couple of times, especially being at level 3, because whether that be a friendly thing or a competition thing, or you guys are nemesi or something like that.
It was interesting actually. Once Dave and I both sort of figured out we were playing fighters, he messaged me like, okay, here's how we know each other. He actually figured that stuff out, and he plays that kind of stuff up so well. It's just like it's so easy to get on board with his story because he gets right into character. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was great, and I did even though it was a little bit annoying on my end, I did like his. This reminds me of the time that sort of thing. That was actually really fun. It's like fun little character quirks and stuff like that can take like something dark like Death House and bring in a little bit of levity to it, because it can be quite depressing to just have like, oh yeah, no, everything's trying to kill you, everything's terrible, like sort of game, but that you can't. That's not sustainable. You need to have. There can be moments of levity within darkness, sort of thing. Kind of like, what's going on now? Like coronavirus sucks, but there's D&D, so
definitely a plus.
yeah. That I'm going to use that for the tagline for this episode of Raging Recaps. By the way,
Worth it.
But anyway, I think we should probably hopefully wrap that up now.
Yeah.
For tonight. It's been good. Thank you so much for chatting, man.
No, mate, thank you. It's been good. Good
Yeah,
recap.
time just flew by. I looked at the time and I'm like, oh, we've been online for like an hour. Okay.
Mate, I am stoked that I've learned more about myself in Death House and my sticky situation.
I am happy that Count Gushula has been such a big hit within the party. Well, big hit versus like super pain in the ass. If I run a homebrew, it's definitely going to be a. He's going to be the big bad evil guy, but like a mecha version of him.
Love it. Love it.
So yeah, everyone that's watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight for Raging Recaps. Be sure to tune in on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for our part 2 of Death House. Once again, we'll have a special guest, Izzy, the DM from the Nat 30s. But I'm Daniel.
I'm Jez.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to be excellent to one another, and we'll see you guys next time.
And we are also going to just head on over and raid a friend of mine, a dreaded GM, and send him some love. Tell him where he came from. Say hello. They run a couple of different sessions over there, a couple of different campaigns. Pretty good looking stream. Lots of good stuff to do over there. So we'll head over there now. Make sure you tell them that the Raging Roll sent you. Cheers, everyone.
Alright, see you guys. That's good, man.